we have to understand that our humanity, the human aspect of us, really struggles with massive change. So this is why it's important that we, from an identity level, we start to take small intentional steps that reflect who we be, our next evolution, who our true self is in this lifetime. And the more that you are able to take these small micro shifts, you can start today. Literally go and start today. But the more that you take those small, intentional, aligned actions, the micro shifts, the more evidence you start to build with yourself.
This is Euphoric Evolution, a podcast all about inner spiritual growth for abundance, where we bridge the spiritual into the practical, the energetic into the physical. I'm Makosina Jezer. I'm a spiritual teacher and oracle, speaker and author, and I'm passionate about catalyzing tomorrow's leaders into consciousness and transformation. So, if you're a spiritual seeker and know you're called for more, let's begin your transformation.
So often we have been told that massive action, taking massive action, is the only way to create change in your life. And I highly disagree with this. I personally believe that there's a time for everything. There's a time and place for everything, but we can't ignore the fact that every new year, lots of people make resolutions to finally have this year be their year, right? And 91% of people fail. Why do they fail? And listen, before I dive into this is no judgment. If you're thinking about, my New Year's resolution, did I already fail? Something to keep in mind, because today we're going to be talking about the ripple effect and understanding how small aligned actions can add up and compound into significant changes in your life. So you might be feeling like you've been spinning your wheels, putting in effort, but not seeing the results that you desire, the change, the transformation in your day-to-day reality. And it's possible that you're experiencing some feeling or sense of stagnation, disconnection, kind of like you're just going through the motions in your day-to-day and wonder, is this actually doing anything? Is this actually going to change my life? Now, we usually feel this sense of being on the hamster wheel because we have this deep longing to live a life that's meaningful, that has purpose, reason, some why to it. And that why is for our life to reflect and align with our true self and our purpose, that our genius and our greatest gifts are able to be expressed, and also that we're able to create impact in this world. These are just the natural human condition. And I think we can all agree that if you're listening to this podcast, you probably live somewhere in the West, and there has never been a time where people were more lacking purpose. I was going to say it another way, but roll with me. You get what I'm saying. It's also important to you probably to see some tangible progress, some signs. Show me a sign that your dreams, your visions are coming into reality, and you want to feel this sense of harmony and purpose to your daily actions. So the gap that I see happen most often, especially with high achievers who are used to taking massive action, is that there's this misalignment between the intention that you have and the action that you're taking. So sometimes you have clear goals and you have values, but yet the actions that you're taking are not necessarily in alignment with who you truly are. And this is what leads to that sense of disconnection. And really, this manifests and can look like you doing the thing that you think that you have to do in order to get the result, not because you're doing that action because you genuinely desire to do it. And so you're so focused on getting the end result that you are absent from the action that you're taking. You're not present. You just go through the motions, right? Or even worse, you end up forcing and pushing to do those things versus aligning with actions that allow for you to enjoy the journey. And then the goal that you desire is just a natural byproduct. This is what I'm talking about when I say making the impossible inevitable. It's that you are embodying and stepping into this version of you who, of course, takes those aligned actions regularly from a place of devotion because it's just an expression of who you are, right? It's not something that you just check off your to-do list. And that the goal is just a natural result of that. So for example, let's say that I desire to be a speaker. Well, I could sit and hope that someone is going to hire me as a speaker. And maybe I take a massive action and I send a request to a connection who is connected with a specific conference, right? That's a massive action to take. Most likely I'm going to be disappointed that in that exact instance, I didn't get that speaking opportunity. Occasionally, maybe I would. But if that individual goes and they look at my history, they look at who I am and how I show up, and I'm camera shy. I haven't yet mastered just being on camera, or I've never done any podcast interviews, or I've never been on any form of a stage before. And here I am trying to be on a huge conference stage. What's likely to happen? I'm probably not going to get that opportunity. But the difference is, let's say that instead I step into the version of myself that is already a speaker. I already know that it's just a matter of time before I'm booked out with paid speaking opportunities. Well, if I were that version of me, I would be showing up speaking regularly all the time. I would be speaking maybe on social media. I would maybe have my own podcast or YouTube channel. I would be maybe showing up at various networking events and offering to speak or teach or, plan a workshop or something because I'm a speaker. That's what I do. So this is the power of aligned actions, aka micro shifts. We have to understand that our humanity, the human aspect of us, really struggles with massive change. It is so unnerving to this internal kind of thermostat that we have that if we take massive action that feels so far removed from who we believe ourselves to be, from our identity, then we will unconsciously self-protect or self-sabotage those opportunities so that we end up right back in the same position. So this is why it's important that we, from an identity level, we start to take small intentional steps that reflect who we be, our next evolution, who our true self is in this lifetime. This is why in Euphoric Evolution, we talk about identity so much because it's at the core of what we do. And the more that you are able to take these small micro shifts, you can start today. Literally go and start today. But the more that you take those small, intentional, aligned actions, the micro shifts, the more evidence you start to build with yourself. This creates a positive feedback loop where you start to affirm that I am blank. In my example, I am a speaker. Because obviously a speaker shows up on Instagram, right? Or TikTok, or teaches workshops, right? Doesn't matter necessarily what the action is. It's about building that evidence over time to yourself. This is what creates self-trust and confidence. If you've been feeling a lot of imposter syndrome, right? It could be because you haven't built up the evidence, or probably more likely is that you are having amnesia, convenient amnesia, ego amnesia. That's a good phrase. Ego amnesia, because oftentimes if our ego hasn't fully accepted that we are that version of us, it will think that those experiences were a fluke, and we will kind of forget them. Part of this root cause, or this root action, this is how we create the capacity to hold the next level of abundance that you desire. This is where we are able to see that you're able to create a ripple effect where every single action that you take, no matter how small, and I'm talking about if you're ready to become your fittest self, for example, and you just put on your shoes, you put on your workout shoes, that action starts contributing to a wave of transformative change. So if you are ready to harness this ripple effect and really witness the profound impact that aligned actions compounded in your life can create, I'm going to invite you to explore deeper. You can visit my website at The Royal Shaman to see what we've got going on, see what offers are coming through. There's lots of new things coming in this next year that I'm so excited to share with you, so that you can receive the potent insights that catalyze you into your limitless potential, your genius, fulfillment, flow, and freedom. Remember that those small actions matter. And again, I want to encourage you to start implementing aligned actions today, like as soon as you get off of this. And then I'd love to hear from you. What happens when you start to take those micro shifts? As always, thank you for listening. If you got value from this, be sure to share and leave a review, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Euphoric Evolution. If you found this valuable, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review with your biggest takeaway. Be sure to share with someone you care about if you know they'll also find value in this episode. You can also visit theroyalshaman.com to take my free consciousness quiz, where you'll uncover your current stage of consciousness, identify your current blockages, and define which steps you can take next to align with your highest potential. You can also see the show notes to find our socials. In Euphoria.